Aloha, y'all. We are Hannah and Jeremy with the Savory Suitcase, and today we are diving into the first part of our 5-day Big Island adventure. Previously, we shared the 5 days that we spent on the island of Maui and all of the incredible things that we saw there. So if you're new here and planning a trip to see both of these islands, I recommend checking out those videos too.
Our time on Maui was absolutely awe-inspiring. We spent time visiting an active pineapple farm, snorkeling a sunken volcanic crater. We even spent a completely jam-packed day driving the road to Hana, exploring what is really one of the most quintessentially Hawaiian parts of Hawaii. But after our short 5 days, it was time to head to the next part of our trip, 5 days on the Big Island. Flying is really the only way to get between the islands.
We were a little surprised to find out that there aren't any ferries between the Hawaiian Islands. I mean, it seems like something that there should be. We even have ferries in Florida to take us down to the Keys. But the oceans between the islands in Hawaii is rough, like really rough. Strong currents and high winds makes it very unpredictable.
And honestly, by all accounts, flying is just easier. It's quick, affordable, and way more reliable than relying on those ocean waves. Our Southwest flight was less than $50 from Maui to Kona and was just about 25 minutes from takeoff to landing.
Jeremy convinced me that for this leg of the trip, we should rent a convertible, which was great until we couldn't fit all of our luggage into the trunk. But honestly, it ended up being a lot of fun. But if I'm wearing a hat in the rest of this video, you'll know why. Our first stop on the island was at the dive shop to get fitted for our wetsuits for our first night activity, snorkeling with Manta Rays. Snorkeling with Manta Rays at night sounds kind of wild, right? But it's one of the most magical things that you can do on the Big Island. We booked this with Big Island divers because they have wetsuits that range up to a size 5X, so we knew that we'd be covered.
We also booked this on the very first night because we knew that this would be something dependent on the weather, and it's not guaranteed that you will see mantas on each dive. So we wanted to give ourselves the option to go on another night if we needed to. The boat takes out a mix of snorkelers and scuba divers, so if we ever find our way back to the island, I think we'll make sure we're scuba certified before we go.
Is anyone here a marine biologist? Serious question? No? Cool. Everything I'm going to tell you guys is true tonight, okay? The manta rays we're going to see tonight are called reef manta rays. They're a little smaller, still very big in size. Males average about 8 to 10 feet, females a little bit bigger because they have to carry the baby, about 10 to 12 feet. Whoa. And for every foot of wingspan, these manta rays weigh about 100 pounds. So they average about 1,000 pounds each manta ray. They're big. Now this is Big Bertha. She's actually 16 feet wide, you guys. She's huge. This is our biggest girl. Does anyone know how we identify these manta rays?
Spots.
Yes? Yep. Each manta ray has a unique spot pattern on their bellies here. Just like a human fingerprint. Each human has a different fingerprint. Similar to manta rays, different spot patterns. If you guys get some videos or pictures of these manta rays, you can look at the website. It's called mantapacific.org, and that's where they're all cataloged on there. They're all named. They have some really unique names, some funny ones. And then if the manta ray that you pictured is not on the site, you get to name your own. Oh. They look like horns almost. As you can see here, they are rolled up. So that helps them swim when they're rolled up. And then when they feed, they actually unroll them. It's really cool to see in the water. And they use them as big spoons to kind of funnel in that plankton. Really cool, guys. And they're very intelligent, guys. Manta rays actually have the biggest brain to size ratio of anything.
The tour includes not only the wetsuits, but also the additional gear that we needed, like snorkels, fins, and goggles. It may seem odd to find yourself in the open ocean after sunset, but this is the optimal time to see the manta rays, and although their size is quite intimidating, they are very docile. They have no teeth, stingers, or barbs like some rays.
Their main source of food is plankton, and they come out in full force at night to feed, drawn to the plankton that gathers under the lights in the water. Mantas can be found in tropical and subtropical waters all around the world, mostly near coral reefs and coastal areas where plankton is abundant. But Hawaii is one of the few places in the world where you can reliably snorkel with them, so this is really a once-in-a-lifetime kind of experience.
We were lucky enough to see at least 11 different manta rays, which our guide said is a pretty strong showing. The Big Island Divers has a manta sighting calendar on their website, so you can go and check out the time of year that you're planning to go and see what they've historically seen around that time. For our time on the Big Island, we booked our stay at the King Kamehameha Kona Beach Hotel. This is a Marriott now, but it does a great job of representing the history of the area throughout its arts and cultural programs.
Among the many treasures you'll find here are vivid portraits of Hawaiian royalty and artifacts that give a glimpse into daily life in early Hawaii, from farming tools to domestic items. Around the hotel, you'll find striking portraits of Hawaiian royalty, each one telling a piece of the island's story. Even if you're not a huge history buff, this is an incredible way to connect with Hawaii's past and rich culture.
They also offer a wide range of cultural activities like lei making and hula lessons. Our room was a standard king with all the typical Marriott amenities. We didn't specifically have an oceanfront view, but I think you can still kind of see the ocean from there. We booked a package that also includes a daily breakfast, which is nice because dining on the islands can add up to a pretty big expense on your trip. And the view from breakfast wasn't half bad.
But our favorite part just might have been the on-site Ululani shave ice. We had it at least once a day for sure. Just off the beach is one of the most significant cultural landmarks in Hawaii, Ahu'ena Heiau. It was built by King Kamehameha the Great between 1812 and 1813 and served as a temple dedicated to the Lono, the Hawaiian god of peace, agriculture, and prosperity.
This was more than just a place of worship. It was where Kamehameha met with his council to make important decisions for the kingdom. Today it is still used for traditional purposes and serves as the backdrop for the hotel's luau. We will share more about our luau experience in the next video. For our second day on the Big Island, we explored the region of Kona, which is known for some of the best coffee in the world. If you've seen any of our other videos, you'll know that we are on the constant hunt for a good local cup of coffee, so this was an absolute must-do while we were in the area. We pre-booked a tour with Heavenly Hawaii, which includes a really informative tour and multiple tasting options.
The Kona Coffee district that spans from 600 feet elevation down there all the way up this dormant volcano, Hualalai, for 3,000 feet elevation, and from north to south for 30 miles, that is Kona Coffee district. It is a lava flow that was created about 200,000 years ago that spans that whole area. Time to live in Hawaii. It wasn't until 1828, a man named Samuel Ruggles brought it here to the Kona Coffee district that it absolutely flourished. He didn't need to do anything. You have two sides, two half ovals that make up the seeds. The skin is the outside there, the redness, right? Then there's also that shiny mucus layer. You notice that? That's the sugars. Or the fruit pectin. You can use that to enhance the flavor of the coffee later on. We will put it into our trap door down over there where we can bag it up very easily. There, we will take off the parchment layer.
We picked up a couple of bags of beans to bring home and got a cup of fresh brewed coffee to enjoy. We got to chatting with the barista, and she recommended that we make a detour for lunch to one of the local favorite spots, which just so happened to be only open on Thursdays and Fridays. And since it was Friday, we knew we couldn't miss the opportunity and headed right over. Randy's Huli Chicken and Ribs is consistently ranked as one of the top huli chicken places on the island. Huli means to turn in Hawaiian. And that's exactly what happens when this chicken is grilled. It's slow cooked over an open flame and turned constantly, soaking up a sweet and savory marinade made with soy sauce, brown sugar, garlic, ginger, and sometimes even pineapple juice. The dish got its start in the 1950s and it became an instant hit, and now it's a beloved part of the local food culture.
At Randy's, the smoky aroma hits you before you've even parked. The chicken is tender and the skin is perfectly charred, and the flavor is everything you would hope Hawaiian barbecue would be. They also offer an amazing mac and cheese and a cornbread that would make any Southern grandmother proud. Our next stop was one of our overall favorite cultural experiences while we were in Hawaii. The Kona Coffee Living Farm tells the story of Kona's coffee pioneers during the early 20th century.
We got to meet the local resident, Charlie, that's the donkey, and then took a self-guided tour around the grounds. We stopped into the historically preserved home of the Uchida family, Japanese immigrants who originally came in the 1920s to work the sugarcane fields and realized that coffee was a much easier and more lucrative business. The extended family continued to live in the home all the way into 1994, when the younger generations decided to sell the home and the Historical Society decided to turn the property into the Living Museum, opening in 1998.
The most important thing is this. It's the rice pot, Japanese rice pot. It's called a hagama. Okay.
Wow.
I'm gonna open it up. I just cooked it. Okay. It has a heavy wooden lid.
Wow.
Yeah. They invented this little tool to move the rice pot. So I'm gonna show you my rice. So today I cooked a real nice pot of rice. I did not burn it. Once in a while I burn it real bad, but it doesn't go to waste because the children love the burnt rice. It gets crispy. They sprinkle salt on it and they just love it. So mom, who loves her children, will occasionally burn it on purpose for them once in a while. Okay. We have banana, pineapple, papaya, persimmon, jabotekava. It's called ume, and it is a Japanese pickled plum. It also looks like the Japanese flag with the sun in the middle, right?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
right.
So you have the same thing like this. Okay. Off to school he goes. Okay. So I'm gonna let you grind some. So everybody's still sleeping, so she's gonna.
Is this the wake-up call? We spent the rest of the day stopping by a few more coffee farms. We didn't have any other tours booked, so that gave us some flexibility to explore.
However, if we ever come back, we will definitely be making a reservation at Kona Joe's for the chance to try out roasting our own coffee.
Take the next right on the Maui Beach Drive.
That evening for dinner, we drove up the coast and had dinner at the Mauna Kea Beach Resort at a restaurant called Manta.
This was one of the fanciest meals that we had while we were in Hawaii, and the bill certainly reflected that. But it was probably our own fault for picking the $300 seafood platter. But it was delicious, and this felt like the right place to splurge on something like that. But the main draw for this restaurant is Manta Point. This area is very close to where we snorkeled the night before, and it's known to get its fair share of manta ray visitors throughout the evenings. If doing the snorkeling trip isn't in your budget or it's outside of your comfort zone, this is a great opportunity to still see mantas pretty close up.
For day 3, we made our way across the island to visit the town of Hilo. This is called Hawaii's Belt Road as it runs across the middle of the island, cutting through some of the more scenic and remote areas of Hawaii. Hilo is on the windward side of the island, so it's known for being the wetter, more lush, and tropical side of the island.
Our first stop was the Hilo Farmers Market, open until 3 p.m. every day, and selling locally grown produce, local foods, tropical flowers, homemade jewelry, and crafts. We picked up some delicious fruit here and a couple of really unique souvenirs. We also stopped by the farmer's market kitchen for some acai bowls and, of course, a coffee. Continuing to head north, we stopped at the famous Rainbow Falls at the Wailuku River State Park. This side of the island is known for its waterfalls due to the consistent rainfall and lush rainforest terrain. The water flows strong and steady year-round, feeding dozens of cascades, both big and small.
Rainbow Falls gets its name from the colorful mist that appears in the morning sunlight. If you time it just right, you'll catch a rainbow arching right over the falls. It's a quick and easy stop with a scenic overlook just steps from the parking lot, and it's the kind of place that feels like a postcard come to life. Our next stop was Akaka Falls State Park, and if you're chasing waterfalls on the Hilo side, this one is a must. The admission here was $5 per person, and it does not require a reservation, so you are free to show up whenever you'd like.
The trail here is an easy paved loop through a jungle of bamboo, wild ginger, and massive ferns. And at the end of the trail, a 442-foot waterfall that drops straight into a deep gorge below. That's Akaka Falls, and it's even taller than Niagara, though not nearly as wide or powerful. You can hear it before you see it, and when it finally comes into view, it's one of those moments where everyone just stops to take it in for a second.
On our way out of the park, we started seeing signs that said that we could pet baby goats. And I don't know about you guys, but that's not something I want to miss. This was also a farm stand, so we got to sample some pretty delicious goat's milk cheese and caramels. After that, we kept winding our way north along the coast, surrounded by thick greenery, the sound of rushing water, and the glimpses of the ocean through the trees. This whole stretch is one of the best examples of why the Hilo side feels so different from the rest of the island. Lush, wild, and full of surprises around every curve.
Shortly before sunset, we ended up at Waipio Lookout, and honestly, it felt like the perfect finale to our drive along the Hilo side. From up here, you get to see the sweeping views of the Waipio Valley, steep green cliffs dropping into a wide black sand beach, with waterfalls cascading in the distance and waves crashing on shore. This valley is deeply sacred in Hawaiian culture. It was once home to the Hawaiian royalty and is often called the Valley of the Kings. You can't help but feel the spiritual energy when you're there standing, taking it all in. Thanks for joining us on this part of our Big Island journey. In the next video, we head to Volcanoes National Park,
Fingers crossed for lava.
snorkel a black sand beach, attend a traditional Hawaiian luau,
and take to the skies on an unforgettable helicopter tour.
so be sure to subscribe so that you don't miss it.